Okay, and welcome everybody to the pros race here tonight, Richmond International Raceway, the park competition 150, and it's going to be 200 laps around this 0.75 mile speedway. Going to be obviously 150 miles is going to be the distance. Going to put you run through the starting grid here. Matt Clifton going to be sitting on pole position. George Bark going to be starting in the number 2 spot. Brian Cross in 3rd. James Simpson in 4th. And Jeremy Crandall going to be in 5th. Travis Brown, the 33, rolls off in 6th. Michael Johnson in the 004 machine is in 7th position. Ryan Borges 8th. Jay Anderson 9th. Robert O'Neill 10th. Furless Falcons 11th. Gary Bauer rounds out number 12 truck field here tonight. Richmond under the lights, short track racing at its finest. And it is going to be, again, that number 53 Realtree Chevrolet of Matt Clifton in control of this field as we pace down the back straightaway. Again, welcoming you in to the Pros Racing Network for tonight's race for the Mrs. Dockside Super Truck Pro Series as we get set to go. The pace car now slide goes to 3 and 4, gets ready to dive down to the safety of the road. Is in control of the car on the gas pedal, green flags going to fly, and we're racing. Virginia, the 53 is going to clear George Bark down into the corner, and looks like almost all single file now side by side for 4th position. The 33 machine and Travis Brown, who's bringing the 32 with him. That's Ryan Borges. Those two trucks trying to get around the 44 of James Hickson. Hickson and Swinton Chevrolet on top. He's going to lose those 2 spots getting back by the start-finish line. The 32 of Ryan Borges is going to want to position. He goes to the inside of the 33 of Travis Brown. That is for 5th. He will clear him off and down through corners number 1 and 2. Top 5 on the racetrack already single file, side by side from position number 7. The 77 of Robert O'Neill and 44 of James Hickson having some trouble early on, starting at 4th, has already slipped back to position number 8 as they run right down the racetrack. Closest battle is up front. The 42 is on the attack. That's George Bark, who sits in the number 2 position. Closes that into about what's going to be a truck lane. A long race. These guys have a lot of time. There's going to be a lot of different pit strategy, fuel strategy that can come into play, but so far clean and green as they work lap 4 down the back. The top 2 cars pulling away. Now they have 8/10 of a second over Brian Cross, the 78 truck, who sits in position number 3, is slowly starting to slip away. Side by side is going to be from P8, 44 of James Hickson, continuing to go the wrong direction. 18 of Jay Anderson hard down into the corner and going to pick up the gas once again. He'll get that spot. So the 44 truck slides back to position number 9. Things not going the way that Hickson was losing here early. And it's fair. The weather setting for tonight's race, it's overcast, 65 Fahrenheit, no wind, and no relative humidity. So nothing really crazy going on with the weather settings here. The 42 of George Bark can make a move to 3 and 4. Looks like he may have maybe flipped it a little bit in the bump. That's one car sideways. The 006 of Furless Falcons from the back of the pack, a self-spin at a quarter number 4, and that truck ends up in the front straightaway grass. No caution is going to fly, but Furless Falcons will continue to go around. He's going to obviously lose his lead lap. Now trouble up front as more cars coming in. Jay Anderson, Jeremy Crandall have trouble out of the corner again, right in front of our leaders. And now the caution flag is going to fly. Race control throwing that caution, and that incident between the 73 and the 18 had the 73 of Jeremy Crandall just losing the handle at a 2 on lap number 6. Came down into the 18 of Jay Anderson. Both those cars into the inside wall. The caution was not thrown by the sim as they did remain off of the lead lap of a race control. Is going to throw the yellow flag, so we're going to slow him down on lap number 8. The field's going to group up behind the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car down the back straightaway on lap number 9 as 9 trucks will remain on the lead lap, and we're going to get those other 3 cars who sit 1 lap down. Crandall, Anderson, and Falcons all 1 lap down are expected to be able to get waved back by the field. And some strategy, Matt Clifton's going to stay out for the number 1 position. Brian Cross, the 78 truck, going to pick from the number 2 spot. George Bark stays out in 3rd. Ryan Borges comes in from 4th. Robert O'Neill in from 5th. Travis Brown down as well. And they're on back. So 3 trucks, there are 4 trucks going to stay out actually, and we're going to see that update through iRacing. Going to give the lucky dog to Jeremy Crandall. But race leader is going to be Matt Clifton. George Bark stays out as well. The 44 of James Hickson stays out. And Jay Anderson, another car that did not come down pit road, he's going to get waved around this time by, so he'll be able to come back and come down for service. So those cars going to get waved back around. So we're going to see a split decision on some of these cars here coming down pit road. I know some of our leaders managed to stay out. They did not want to come down here early on in the going, and obviously a handful of drivers did pit. Obviously the cars with damage, if you're a Jeremy Crandall, Jay Anderson, Fearless Falcons, they were waved around the pace car. Actually the 006 does currently remain 1 lap down, but Anderson and Crandall were waved around. The 18 having some trouble there, nearly missing pit road. I know that they are currently working some pretty damaged race machines here. But obviously because of that, race control giving the official word. The reason that they were waved around is because the caution should have been thrown from that incident. And this is one of the racetracks where typically on iRacing, if you see a wreck and they spin and they're not in the racing surface, the caution is not going to fly. And that apron down the back straightaway, very thin, and they both definitely made some pretty hard contact with the inside wall. Did appear to come back up into the groove a little bit above the white line, but no caution was thrown. So race control obviously bringing out the manual caution, slowing it back down, and because of the time lost from no yellow being thrown originally by the sim, those 2 drivers are able to get their laps back. The 006 of Fearless Falcons will remain 1 lap down. He did not get the lucky dog. That belonged to Jeremy Crandall. Falcons is going to have to continue to sit 1 lap down because his spin was off the racing surface. He spun through the grass down the front straightaway, so that's what caused that. So we will have 11 out of our 12 competing trucks here that are going to be remaining on the lead lap as we get set to go for another restart. Lights on the pace car do remain on this time as the field cycles through corners number 1 and or rather corners 3 and 4. We get to look to see what will happen if the lights go off this time by. It'll get us set for a lap 14 restart here at the Richmond International Raceway. The lights do go off, so 0.75 miles more around, we will get set to once again go green flag racing. And so we will have again those 12 trucks. Matt Clifton and George Bark will make up the front in this next start. A couple of big movers. Again, the 44 of James Hickson started 4th, dropped back to 9th. And that's actually currently where he sits on the inside of the 5th row for this next race. Starts to look for the 44 truck to try to pick it up a little bit. The Slim Jim Chevrolet want to get back going to the front of this field. But through the 3 and 4, getting set for the restart pace car. He's ready to dive down the safety of pit road. Here we go. He's back looking on the other side. The 53 car goes green flag front for racing. And then George Bark actually coming with the 70 down to the bottom of the 70. It's actually going to have to back out of it. No room. That was Ryan Cross. Now Cross ends up side-by-side contact up front. George Bark, but a huge run gets into the back of that Clifton. That checks him up, and now trouble back and back. The 44 car around it just fix it. And that looks like it's going to be a solo truck spin. No further damage from that. He does spin onto the apron. The caution flag is going to fly. We will slow them back down. Here on lap number 15, Clifton able to hang on to the number 1 position, but a close call all around there on that restart. Again, we saw the 7-8 Brian Cross go to the inside, try to make a move, and ended up not really having any more space that back out of it because George Bark nearly side-by-side, which was the battle that Cross was trying to go for. He backed out of it. That caused him to kind of slide up the hill. He got really close to Ryan Borges. Those two would end up side-by-side for that number 3 spot. Borges will be scored 3rd. This time by the caution flag, so the 32 gets that spot, and then Clifton, after driving it hard into the corner, was kind of slow on exit. George Bark backed up that corner really well and had a good run coming off of it and actually made contact with the right side of Clifton's back bumper. Fearless Falcons, the only truck 1 lap down, is going to be given the lucky dog by the iRacing sim. So the 006 is going to be coming back around right there on the outside and down the back straightaway. He will go back to the number, or rather, he'll go back to the lead lap. as he gets back around the field. So all drivers going to be able to get right back into contention. Again, things still very early here, working lap 16 of 200 under the caution flag. Going to take a moment to talk about this Richmond International Raceway located in Henrico County, Virginia. Capacity crowd of 97,912 people can pack in here to see a fine race on the weekends. The Speedway is owned and operated by the International Speedway Corporation, opened back in 1946. And this racetrack, unlike many, some of them have maybe one or two, this racetrack, its name has changed a lot throughout the years. Just a little bit of history on the track here as we work under our second yellow of the race. It used to be called the Richmond Fairgrounds Raceway. That was from 69 to 88. Then it changed to Virginia State Fairgrounds. That was also 64 to 68. Atlantic Rural Fairgrounds from 55 to 63. And from 46 to 55, the original name, the Atlantic Rural Exposition Fairgrounds, was this location. Obviously now Richmond International Raceway, host to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, Toyota Owners 400, Federated Output 400, also the NASCAR Nationwide Series, Toyota Care 250, and the Virginia 529, College Savings 250, the nationwide races. But the Federated Output 400 for the Cup Series actually coming up really soon here for the Cup guys as they get set to close on their final 3 races on the regular season with the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series side of things as we continue to pace. Let's talk track facts in specific. The D-shaped oval, which was actually put into this location in 1988. So when they called this place a fairgrounds, it really was a fairgrounds. They didn't actually put down the asphalt surface until that area, or this D-shaped oval, that we'll call it the modern configuration. There used to be a half-mile configuration prior to this, but the D-shaped oval that we run on now, 1988, that's when that started, an asphalt surface. Again, exactly 3/4 of a mile, 0.75 miles in length, and 4 turns. Banking is going to be 14 degrees in the corners. It feels a lot flatter than that when you drive around on it. It almost feels like March, but there is banking there. 14 degrees in turns, 8 on the front straightaway. Again, that D-shaped oval, big sweeping left-hander, has 8 degrees, and there's also 2 degrees of banking down the back straightaway on this surface. So lights are on the base car. We're getting set to go back green flag racing once again, and it is going to be Matt Clifton in control of this field. It's getting base car down the pit road. 3 choosing the outside lane. Green flag finds the race once again. Row number 3. Gary Power and Travis Brown. It's going to be a 4-truck race on in the corner. Top 2 single final, side by side for 3rd, and a strong move from Brian Cross. He's going to go from battling for 3rd to battling for 2nd. He'll get door-to-door to George Bark in quarter number 3. He's working the outside. He's going to back on the inside. He's tracing the bumper of George Bark. And Brian Cross will be slow down the first straightaway and will keep it going. Over to doing so, battling for 2nd. He's actually going to drop back to 5th. As the 33 of Travis Brown in his BART competition Chevrolet gets on by, and now another truck is slow. That's George Bart in the 42. He had a really bad time on the quarter number 3. He now finds himself battling with Travis Brown. And by the start, the 33 of Brown has the advantage. That is the battle for the number 3 spot. As the top 2 start to pull away, they're separated by 1.5 truck lengths, and George Bart, the 42, continuing to struggle with that exit of quarter number 2. Drives it in real hard though. Number 3, a power move. Getting it over the Knox lines up, catches the fence. Back around for a moment to be able to take a breath and hang on the 3rd right after the 70 of Brian Cross right back on the attack. On the outside lane, he's in the fence as well. George Bark going to get back around him, and these guys 3rd through 5th. Being Brown, Cross, and Bark. Response on it and having trouble keeping on the fence. Very minor contact behind that. These trucks can take quite a beating if you only scrape it. You really don't want to pound that wall on exit, or it'll cause a big problem. These guys just scrape it a wall on exit. Not the fastest way around. This is a very tough racetrack to do, especially to be able to navigate the corner exit. No harm, no foul. Just a little bit of shame. Spread out here and get their eyes set on the green flag run side by side for 4. Brian Cross tried the inside. Once again, he had to back out of it into the corner. and by doing so, he allows the 77. Now, trouble up the front of the field. It's going to be race leader Matt Clifton. After being up at the top spot, Ryan Borges made the pass at 3 and 4 that last time by. The 53 got a little bit flustered, found himself in second, and tried to give it a little bit too much. Spinning in corner number 2 hard into the inside wall. Caution flag is going to fly. And once again, we slow them down 1/8 through tonight's race. 200 laps, 150 miles to BART competition. 150 BART competition carding you can see on the 33 truck of Travis Brown, 42 of George Bark. How about race leader now? Ryan Borges in store, bonus sports machine. They go down pit road. Travis Brown, George Bark, Robert O'Neill, Brian Cross, Gary Bauer, Crandall are all staying out. James Hickson, Matt Clifton are going to join him on pit road along with Michael Johnson and Verlis Felkins. Actually, Felkins going to stay out in the 006. So only about 4 trucks going to come down to pit road. One of those is our race leader. The 32 is in for service. Again, that is Ryan Borges. Going to be a 4-tire stop, fuel, and go. And he will exit pit road. The first truck off of pit road. He gets back out to speed. One of the questions is going to be, how does Matt Clifton recover from this? He still has, again, pretty significant front-end damage. He comes in and gets a quick fix back out. But he's going to find himself at the back of this pack. 53 car going to have to line up what appears to be position number 10. Verlis Felkins, the 006 stayed out the last time. He comes down for service this cycle through. So he's coming down pit road as well. So it looks like it's going to be the top 7 trucks are going to stay out and not visit pit road. Includes now race leader Travis Brown, George Bark, Robert O'Neill, Brian Cross, Gary Bauer, Jeremy Crandall, Jay Anderson, Ryan Borges, James Hickson, Matt Clifton, Michael Johnson, and Verlis Felkins. 8 through 12 are the 5 drivers that elect to come down for tires and service under this yellow flag. And again, if you're just tuning in to the Pros Racing Network, you're watching the Mrs. Dockside Super Truck Pro Series live from the Richmond International Raceway. My name is Zoko. Tonight is the BART competition, 150 miles and 200 laps. And we've passed the 25 lap mark, so 1/8 of this race is in the bags. As the pace car lights have been extinguished, and 33 of Travis Brown have elected to take the outside on this next restart. Interesting enough to note on that the 3rd place truck, the 77 of Robert O'Neill, again will have to start on the inside of that 3rd row, so they can nearly give an advantage to the 4th place truck, the 78 of Brian Cross, as he will be restarting the race car down to the road to get center. Travis Brown, great start side by side for 2nd. Brian Cross, 42, and George Barker go out of the Carlin. Between those two as they're door-to-door and at corner number 2. The 42 of Bark slides back as he throw it into corner number 3. The opening's still there. 17's going to shut the door. And Brian Cross is going to go for the start. All right. Choosing and looking to take the outside lane. Travis Brown leads it. He's that set run back. Closing pretty quickly. Brian Cross. There, 42 of George Bark from 3rd place. Is going to go around, and caution flag once again is going to fly very easily. And the 2nd time we've seen it tonight, just getting back to the gas just a little bit too early. 42 goes around, he manages to keep it out of the fence. As some of the drivers obviously made some pretty significant contact after spinning out of the corner. But he was able to keep it on the racing surface, and caution does fly from that spin. Nobody else involved. A single car accident. Going to put us back under the yellow flag. Lap 32 in the works. We're going to step away from the microphone for a minute as we pace. And we'll be back with you here as we get set to take the green flag here, working our 3rd caution. Back here at Richmond International Raceway, the lights are off on a pace car, and we get set to go back green flag racing in the BART Competition 150 live on the Pros Racing Network. Race leader is going to be the 33 of Travis Brown. Caution was most recently out for the 42 of George Mark, who the south spin at a quarter brings up the other front position once again. Nobody else would be involved in this. Now green flag flies once again. Travis Brown on the round cutter. He sails it off in the corner. Brian Cross going to go side by side with Ryan Borges at the second. Clifton and Crandall side by side for fourth behind them, but out of the 73 of Crandall catches the wall. The 53 of Matt Clifton going to go up, and he wants to use that battle for second. The 32 Borges is going to clear Cross down the back. Cross and serve and catches the fence down the front straightaway, and he nearly gets stuck on it. The way the physics goes in the racing, so Matt Clifton going to go around him for third. And Brian Cross, the number 78 Chevrolet, is going to drop back to the number 4 spot, back into the clutches of the 73 of Jeremy Crandall. Ryan Borges is going to make the pass bottom through and through, and Borges is going to go to the top spot. Travis Brown, the 33, not doing well on the outside. The 53 goes to the pass and rides a little high contact and almost ushers that 33 truck out of the way. They figure it out, single file back. Matt Clifton is going to be able to advance to position number 2, which puts off Travis Brown. He's going to slide back to third. Everybody tries to single file out, get some space. And now a spinner out of quarter number 2. Once again, the 33 of Travis Brown is around caution. Going to fly, and these trucks again just do not like that corner number 2. Travis Brown, after most recently dropping back to position number 3, and you can see the cause of it there. If you look at the onboard, is he just overdrove it a little bit into the corner and a little bit of oversteer, and he brought the wheel back to the right just a little bit to correct it, and once he tried to bring that back to center and then how left he wanted it to turn. That little bit of a bobble or a jolt of the car, obviously that rear end not stable, and Travis Brown going to go around, bringing us back under caution flag conditions. Here at lap number 40, Ryan Borges, I'm telling you, that number 32 truck is looking pretty stout after starting in 8th. He sits in the number 1 spot. And driving with his colors on his machine, the Storm Motorsports Chevrolet is up in the number 1 spot. Take a look back. It is going to be Matt Clifton who's up to second. The Realtree Outfitter Chevrolet with Jack Daniels on the car as well is up to second place. Brian Cross, the Chevrolet-sponsored Chevrolet, is in third place. Jeremy Crandall running a BART Competition karting machine is in fourth. Gary Bauer, the number 27 Silverado, is 5th position. Jay Anderson, the MPR Athletics machine, sits in 6th spot. Burles Falcons, the 006 machine, he sits 7th. Robert O'Neill in the number 77, him also having Chevrolet on his car, sits 8th right now. James Hickson, the 44 car, the Slim Jim Chevrolet, with a couple other decals on his machine, it's in 9th. George Bark, after restarting in 12th, gets back down to that position. He pits under the caution flag period for some fresh tires and repairs. The 33 of Travis Brown, who just lost that at the quarter number 2 of BART Competition karting Chevrolet, sits in 10th. Michael Johnson, the 15th Michael Johnson on iRacing, 004 truck, rides around in position number 11. Obviously with PADD pad on the car, back bumper. People against distracted driving. And that is the 12 truck field. Again, the trucks that we have seen have issues rather, for that fact. And very few of them have spun and lost their lap. We haven't really had many major contact. We had that one wreck down the backstretch between a couple of trucks. They got waited by, so all 12 drivers still on the lead lap, still with equal opportunity to get a shot at this one. We get set as we approach the quarter distance mark. The quarter century mark here closing in. Pace car lights are off as we enter turns 3 and 4. And this time it is going to be the 32er flying Porsches. He will elect to take the inside of this restart. Pace car down, hesitating. It waits a couple seconds. Borges slows them all down. That green flag is going to fly. He goes side by side for a second. Running across to the inside. Setting lights trying to decide what he did. But yet tonight. Trying to ride it out of quarter number 2. Does he clear the 53 of Clifton? Yes, he does. And then Clifton going to chunk back in line, top 3. Single file over, side by side. That's 3 wide, 77 to the bottom. That's Robert O'Neill, the 44. Hickson to the back out of it. The 33 of Travis Brown. Same time. Transitions into 2 side-by-side battles. As the plain Jenkins, the 44 of Hickson, is the one to back out of it. That first side-by-side battle, and single final now, and Travis Brown is passed by the 77, and Robert O'Neill. George Mark is able to get around James Hickson. And so everybody single filing up for a moment. Trouble with Jay Anderson, number 18 truck, after going green on that restart. Had a self-spin out of quarter number 4, and actually caught the long in the barrels. Pretty significant right side damage. He gets his quick fix and he is off. But Jay Anderson going to lose at least 1 lap, if not 2 or more. Top three, more trouble with the 006 of Toyota Felton. Self-spin and in quarter number 4, down in the grass once again. That's what the 106 had some trouble earlier on tonight. Felkins is able to maintain his lead lap position. He is the last truck on the lead lap, 14 back in position 11. Ryan Gordon looking mighty strong at the front of the field. He wants to run away with that pass at the end of the night. 32 Storm Motorsports machine trying to pull away. He gained 2 more tenths on Brian Cross that last lap, and that would be because Matt Clifton rounded through for second. The 53 truck completes that pass, so Clifton back up to second, Cross back to third. As everybody else seems to be trying to settle into a green flag run, and even with only 12 trucks, you know, one would assume that once everybody spreads out, the chance of the caution from minimized, but not necessarily the case with the Richmond beginning. We've seen these trucks very unstable. Corner exit back end can easily step out on you. And in that situation, very easy. I mean, most of the incidents that we've seen tonight have actually been from single car spins. Nothing can be counted or taken for granted quite yet. However, the top 3 really are starting to separate. Oh, Brian Cross hard into the outside wall at quarter number 2. 7 to 7, probably points around Gary Power. They will take third. Power to George Mark. Brian Cross back to 6th. And Crandall around. Jeremy Crandall. Trouble at the start-finish line. The self-spin at quarter number 4. Down to the grass. No caution. Very careful. Back up in front of Ryan Borges. Burles fell into the 006. Has lost his lap in that affair. But Borges is going to be closing in on the 73 of Crandall. This time out of the corner, going to be going to Burles 73 for 1 lap down. Yes, he does. That will leave us with 9 trucks on the lead lap. And Richmond, for being such a small track, has a lot of space, according to the iRacing sim, for these trucks to spin out and to not warrant a caution flag period. James Hickson then transfers to the Slim Jim Chevy after starting in 4th. He cycled back to 9th. The 44 truck is the last car on the lead lap, 13 seconds back from Ryan Borges. Borges just straight flying here at Richmond. He's opened up the gap to about 2.6 seconds this time. 2.7 seconds. So Borges at least 1, if not 2 tenths quicker than everybody else in the field every single lap. So Borges is doing what he needs to do. And obviously he's figured this thing out, and he had to do a good job of getting up through the field. After starting in 8th, he was able to get out, and once he got clean air, pretty much setting sail. Top 7 only separated by about 6 seconds. That would be Travis Brown in 7th, 6.1 back, and then Michael Johnson, James Hickson, 8 and 9 are both double digits back, 14 and 15 seconds back respectively. W4 and the 44 trucks not at their prime condition as they run. I know Borges just now extending his lead once again to 3.3 seconds. So that again, that storm figured something because he is just straight flying up at the front of the field. It looks like a battle is bringing forward the number 2 spot. That is Robert O'Neill, the 77 truck. Closing in on that clip. Robert O'Neill, after starting back in 10th, currently sits in position number 3, and this is quickly translating into a 3-truck battle for second. Clifton has been a part of due to George Bart. These 3 very close together, separated by a mere 0.5 of a second, half a second separating them. Looks like the 53 could be a hold at about just a little bit. That regard is if you're a Robert O'Neill, especially at George Bart. George Bart is not only stuck behind them, but he's stuck behind the truck that appears to be stuck behind another, so has to be extra careful here and tiptoe through this. Catching something's one thing, completing the pass is a whole other. Something's going to go to the inside. He actually has to back off because there's a lap truck there. Double system early Falcons is going to be right up in front of the 53. Matt Clifton. Clifton has to let off that 066, and 066 is going to get a punt. Matt Clifton is not happy. Carlos Felton's blocking the track down the 53. If Clifton's going to spin out, and caution will fly. And that's going to translate back to that lap traffic as Matt Clifton had nowhere to go and had to back off for that 006. 006 should have been out of the way. Driving in the middle of the racetrack, George Barkley was inside. But Matt Clifton attempted to make sure that Carlos Felton would get out of the way, and due to the contact, he ended up having a self-spin, went down, caught the inside wall. Looks like he may have caught, looks like a little bit of left side damage on the 27 of Gary Bauer. So Gary Bauer going to pick up some minor damage, some pretty significant damage on the back end of the 18 of Jay Anderson. The middle section severely caved in, but leader's going to come down pit road. Borges, George Bart, Robert O'Neill, Bauer, Cross, and Brian Cross as the 78 truck cycler is actually going to stay out on track. Travis Brown in, Matt Clifton in, Michael Johnson stays out, and James Hickson in as well. So 2 trucks remain out on racing surface. Let's see what Brian Borges does. He was the first truck to bring them down into his stall. Right side going to go up Jack underneath the car. Looking for some fresh tires. Looks like it's going to be a 4-tire stop. 4 tires, gas, and go. For the 32 of Borges, he will be the first truck off of pit road as he was the first on. And everything is going to cycle through, but Michael Johnson and Brian Cross are going to elect to stay out. Jay Anderson, Carlos Falcons up at the front of the field. Lap machines trying to get their laps back by staying out and not pitting and take away from at the 1 to go. So going to step away from the bike just for a quick moment. We'll be back when we go back to take the green flag. You're watching the BART Competition 150 live from Richmond International Raceway on the Pros Racing Network. Lights on for the pace car, and pace cars down to the mid road. We're set to go back. Green flag racing. The 78 truck right across the control on the high side. Green flag flies back on the way. Lead of our competition. Right for Richmond International Race Leader watching the Pros Racing Network. Lap 71, 0200. In the works after a handful of yellow flags from single car spins. We get back underway. Borges, who was straight flying at the start of this second spot right now. The first start on the fourth fresh time, 78 did not pick. You can see it already as Borges to the bottom of the clear with no issue. However, he does have a challenger, the 77 of Robert O'Neill to the inside, sideways, hangs onto it. And now caution, trouble back and back again at a corner number 2. The 27 of Gary Bauer appears to go around. A single truck spin once again off the corner. And back under yellow flag conditions we go. And Ryan Borges very quickly putting the 32 Chevrolet back up to the point. But he will be our race leader. Robert O'Neill made up a good battle for it on corner exit. Borges really drove it in hard to clear Brian Cross and kind of backed him up on corner exit. The 77 took a look to the inside. And when doing so, that back end of that truck stepped out. He was able to hang on to it, keep on going, and again balances out into number 2 position as the caution would fly shortly thereafter. Brian Cross is able to hang on to 3rd spot, but with no fresh tires. Not sure how strong that 78 truck, Snap-on Chevrolet on the machine. I'm not sure how strong that's going to hang on. Furless Falcon's going to receive the wave around. He was the only truck 1 lap down. So the 006 going to be waved back. He will join the 10 other trucks on the lead lap, which means the only truck off of lead pace is going to be Jay Anderson, the 18 truck, who rides around, obviously 12th place at the racetrack with MPR on the side of it. He's going to come down for service. Obviously has some pretty severe back end damage that he's going to want to attend to. Again, tonight's race brought to you by the people. And obviously, you've got Brown's Racing, Bark Competition, GeorgeBark.com. Again, the Bark Competition 150, and then the Mrs. Dockside Super Truck Pro Series, Mrs. Dockside, www.JimDolanRealtor.com. People that bringing this to you live here on the Pros Racing Network. Travis Brown tries to head up victory lane once again, as he has done in the opening few races. Every other Sunday night we'll be live here with the trucks, and tonight's venue is Richmond. Travis Brown was able to walk away with a couple of victory lanes and a couple of checkered flags so far in the season. However, that 33 truck not really looking stout so far. Solid. He runs mid-pack in 6th, but not really a top contender yet. See if he can make any sort of adjustments as the night goes on. To see if anything transforms to his liking. Lights still on the base car. Expect them to be extinguished this time by. Through 3 and 4. Furless Falcons is on pit road after getting that wave around. He is off and away, and now he has a fresh machine. We'll keep it on to see how that machine reacts, but the lights are off on the base car. We get set to go back. Green flag racing off of our 7th caution. Averages about 1 every 11 laps. My rough math, I'm going to go 11, that's a guesstimate, but we get set to go back green. Ryan Borges is going to be in control, and that's something here at Pros that they do, is the leader, even though on iRacing sets them to start on the inside, figured out that you're not going to get black flags, and actually do give the leader the opportunity to choose if he wants to start on the inside or the outside. Typically, we're seeing our leaders start on the outside of the next race. Gorgeous finish, so the pace car, 32 control. Green flag flies at a quarter before. Side by side for second, the 77 Rocker. Bark gets a nose there off the corner. 77. Can he slide clear? No, he cannot. Does Robert O'Neill go to the inside for the lead? Yes, he does. Jordan Miller for 81. He's clear. Bottom clear. Not only the 32, still got a nose there at the quarter. Man, O'Neill will drop that to third. And just like that, Martin Gorgeous. We saw dominate. Oh, 42 of Bark sideways. The 32, a great job to stay off of him. As Wow Gorgeous easily got into him, hits on the brakes 4 wide down to that straightaway. As everybody was able to hang on to it, everybody survives that. After a close call here, George Martin sideways again. Second time you see his 42 gets squirrely off the corner. And a great piece of driving by Ryan Borges to stay off of him. Could have easily turned him around. They're able to hang on. They continue to go. Now we see the 77 getting shot at some clean air. That is Robert O'Neill. He's opened up that 1.3 second gap over Matt Clifton. Clifton has company. Borges to the inside, down into corner number 3. Clear up, lines up off of 4. Yes, he does. 32 to second spot. Gorgeous, we know it. He's shown us as a strong truck. However, not getting the restart that he wanted. Dropped all the way back to third. He's back up to second. George Barton, who got sideways from that number 2 spot, is dropped back to the 5th spot. Travis Brown with 33, the beneficiary of that goes from 6th to 4th on that restart. Everybody's starting to spread out. Gary Bauer, the 27, his night is done. He will retire and finish in position number 12. Jay Anderson currently sits 2 laps down. He's the only truck, again, not on the lead lap. He sits in the number 11 spot. O'Neill trying to put some ground on Borges, but since Borges is gotten clear of Matt Clifton, that was battle for third. Borges trying to make up some time. O'Neill actually picks up another 10. That last time by. Close it in on the halfway point. That'll be in 15 or so laps. Actually 15 to go till the halfway point. 115 left in the pocket. Tonight's events. As O'Neill started to put some time on Borges, is starting to lose it. Only 9/10. It's going to be the gap. Brian Cross is going to be able to complete a pass. The 78 machine puts a number on James Hickson. Hickson drops to 8th, and Cross advances to 7th. I'm telling you, Robert O'Neill is being chased down by Ryan Borges. 9/10 separate them. The top 2 pulled away entirely. That's 2 seconds back to Clifton in 3rd. George Martin back up to 4th. We got around Travis Brown in 33. But Borges trying to run him down and picking off another 10th that last time by. Down to 4/10. Ryan Borges straight flying. I'm going to take a look at his last couple of laps. Borges running some pretty consistent 21.3s most recently, and Robert O'Neill, he's up at the front of the field, most recently running 21.3s, 21.4s, 21.5s, and 1 21.7. So does have the capability of running the 21.3, which are the lap times that Ryan Borges is knocking off. I think that 32 truck just a lot more consistent, and the 77 still missing some, lacking some of that department, trying to find a little bit more consistency. And so Robert O'Neill sits up in the race lead. And it's going to be a battle here really soon. One truck length down the back. And in corners number 3 and 4, Borges. So wide out of the corner, 1.5 truck lengths. That time by the stripe, but it's been closed down to 2/10. And as the 77 of O'Neill, you know that he's going to be coming. You just don't want to overdrive it. Don't get crazy about it. But you can feel the presence now. Borges on the back bumper by the stripe, and down into corners number 1 and 2. They are starting to approach a little bit of lap traffic. Not going to be a concern at the moment. But if this battle continues to rage on just for a couple more laps, then Ryan Borges may have a little bit of a screen to get around him. Those lap machines, Verlis Falcons, Michael Johnson, mainly Verlis Falcons, who sits 19 seconds back. He's the first car, the first truck to lead lap. That are people who would catch up in the front of the field, O'Neill and Borges. That can cause a big issue because we've seen it in the past. We saw it with Clifton that lap machines can get in the wing, and now O'Neill's going to let him on by. He opens up the bottom, Ryan Borges to the bottom, through and clear. And the 32 truck is going to go to the point. Ryan Borges back out in front of this field. They have trouble right in front of him right after they complete the pass. Verlis Falcons, who was the last truck on the lead lap. I told you that, and I was relating it to Robert O'Neill, that if Robert O'Neill's looking back at Borges, knows I'm coming, he might try to give a little bit too much. The 006 of Verlis Falcons knew that our leaders were coming, and he tried to give a little bit too much, got sideways, and actually did a pretty solid job of saving it, and then getting back up the speed, actually wrecked. He takes a tow back to pit road. And Ryan Borges just 3 laps short of the halfway mark in tonight's race as they close in on lap 100. Definitely the 32, currently sitting on the most laps led. Will be our leader. Expect to see the come down pit road. 32 of Borges going to lead him on town. Robert O'Neill, Travis Brown, George Bark, Brian Cross, Randall, Hickson, Clifton, Johnson. And Michael Johnson will stay out. Everybody else going to come down pit road. Ryan Borges, and typically if you get that last stall on pit road, the #1 qualifying spot, you're going to get the best shot at beating people out of pit road. Because you don't have to worry about getting up to speed. You just need to get to that line, which is a couple yards in front of your pit stall before anybody else. So Matt Clifton would have the beneficiary of that, but Ryan Borges has been very consistent on pit road. We have a challenge from the 77. Can't get it done. Borges leads him off pit road once again. Another clean stop for the 32 gang. Very solid on pit road tonight. 4 tires and off. Michael Johnson, who stayed out the last time by, he will cycle through. And Ryan Borges will lead halfway through the bar competition 150 here live on the Rose Racing Network. Halfway through our 150-mile event, 75 miles nearly in the books. Going to step away again from the microphone here for a moment, and we will bring you back live here. Still going to be streaming, but we'll be back on the mic to get set for our second half of tonight's race. Borges from 8th to 1st in the first half. Can we see any other big movers? Can the 32 hang on to try to lock this one up? Going to be back in a moment. live at Richmond International Raceway. Pace car off and Ryan Borges is in control. The green flag flies once again. We're racing on the side by side for second as the 37 Robert O'Neill on the inside of the crossbar to the outside, trying to hang tough, has a nose there, can't quite hang on, and the 77 of Robert O'Neill does get clear. He's actually going to go to the inside, side by side for the lead. And Ryan Borges, the second time in a row, starting with a lead spot, a restart, and last time dropped back to third. This time he drops back to second. He does have a very strong long run car. Up at the 32, still not getting it, that consistency on the restarts that we're looking for. He's up to the inside, running across to the inside, going to try to make it that corner for us. This battling side by side is allowing Robert O'Neill to pull away that goal spot. Number 410's cross going to be through and clear on the bottom. Does Travis Brown go for it? Yes, he does, because the 32's in the fence. 3 wide. The 53 of Matt Clifton to the middle. 3 wide in the corner. He's got to get on the brakes. Goes hard contact. Clifton around and hard into the wall. Caution down to the fly. Multiple trucks involved in that. And it comes from Matt Clifton being in the middle. He expected somebody to back out of it. Nobody did, so he slammed the brakes. Next thing he knows, the 42 of George Bark is right there. The 53 would have had it saved. The 73 had nowhere to go. That was Jeremy Crandall. Crandall made contact, sent the 53 back up hard into the fence. George Bark going to get a piece of it. And caution going to fly once again on lap 105. And for the second time in a row, Ryan Borges is struggling on those restarts there. The 32 truck last time started first, dropped back to third. Given about 10 laps, he would eventually return to the race lead. This time drops back to fourth spot after contact with the outside retaining wall at a corner number 2. Has dropped back to fourth position. Doesn't get the green flag laps. That little bit of run that needs to get back up front, so he'll be forced to start on the outside of the second row. He could be able to battle for second off of that. We've seen that before. If our leader likes to take the outside lane, that number 4 starting position could be very beneficial. But Robert O'Neill may be a dark horse in this one. Not the fastest truck. I do believe the 32 is fastest on the long run. But the 77 is doing the right things and has a solid piece of equipment behind him. Robert O'Neill doing a great piece of driving. And he has his 77 Chevrolet back up in front after starting in 10th. He is the biggest mover in tonight's race. Verlis Falcons, who started 11th, the only 2 trucks behind him, one being Verlis Falcons, who started 11th, sits 11th right now, and Gary Bauer, who started 12th, sits 12th. So Robert O'Neill, tonight's biggest mover, 10th to 1st. Nobody else making a feat anywhere similar to that. Michael Johnson going to be the first truck to come down pit road from 7th. It seems like the 004 strategy has come in 1 lap later than everybody else, because George Bark has already come down for service. An update on that 006 of Verlis Falcons. 4 laps down is the gap. He is in 11th spot, the only truck not on the lead lap that is still in tonight's race. Going to run you down through the grid as they sit right now. O'Neill in P1, Brian Cross 2nd, Travis Brown 3rd, Ryan Borges 4th, Jeremy Crandall 5th, James Hickson 6th, 7th, Michael Johnson, George Bark 8th, Matt Clifton 9th, Jay Anderson 10th, Verlis Falcons 11th, Gary Bauer 12th. Is your park competition. Full field run down the park competition 150. Halfway through tonight's 150-mile affair, 0.75 miles. 0.75 miles, a lap 3/4 of a mile is tonight's speedway, 200 laps to get the completed distance, and currently working lap 109 under the caution flag. This weekend, Robert O'Neill is up in the number 1 spot. If you're taking a look to join Pros-League is where you got to go to get any information. Pros-League.com. Every other Sunday night, the Mrs. Dockside Super Truck Pro Series. A payout structure for every spot in the field. Paid entry fee, and obviously the guy going to be walking away with the most change in his pockets is going to be the guy that puts it in victory lane. And we have still yet one truck dominate. We've seen the 32 lead laps, the 77, the 42. Several guys have been up there, been strong, and led laps. However, as they run, nobody really dominated. A lot of lead changes. Lights back off on the pace car. As we get set to go back green flag racing. O'Neill is actually elected, or not elected maybe, but he will be on the inside lane. Does not choose to make a movement to the outside, so the 78 of Ryan Cross, who sits second, goes out to his right-hand side, and they get double file. Pace car, the RAC Ford first Mustang, pace car ties down to the safety right there. Robert O'Neill from the 77 on the gas, side to side, and he didn't really roll back at the bottom. Ryan Cross right there. Making side-by-side, can't do so. 33 of Travis Brown to the inside. It'll be side-by-side for a second. Down the back into 3, Travis Brown sideways. He hangs on to it. George is clear. George Martin, the 44 of the 60. Is going to be where Travis Brown balances out at. And a little bit of contact, the 53 in the George Bart. No harm, no foul. They keep him pointed the right direction. As all of that went down at a quarter to the field. For a moment, single file. Throughout this field, one truck up in the fence. 33 of Travis Brown caught that fence a little bit going into the corner. And again, the way the physics work on iRacing, you just kind of get stuck in that fence. It's the physics of real life too. It actually is the same way. You get caught in that fence, and enough to be very dangerous. You might only snap off of it and spin. But Travis Brown does a solid job. And he's able to hang on to it, but does drop back to 6th spot. As he rides behind the 53 of Matt Clifton. Brian Borges again dropped back to 4th after that. Brian, for the most recent caution prior to that. Dropped back to 4th after being in 1st. He's back up to 3rd, trying to gain some positions. And it's a 3-truck battle again. George Martin at a quarter number 2. Pretty solid contact that time by, and looks like the back end stacked out a little bit on him. Got a little bit loose. Now spinning at a quarter number 2. 42 of George Martin. Again, caution flag going to fly. That's got to be the 3rd time we've seen the 42 truck just not liking that second corner. It obviously was some right-hand damage on that machine on the passenger side. Very hard to hang on to that. He spins it back out. And we go back into a caution flag condition. Robert O'Neill is in control of this field. Can the 77 save it? Currently working lap 117 of the BART competition 150. Once again, going to step away from the microphone. We'll bring you back 4th green flag as we work the yellow. back here once again at Richmond International Raceway. We get set for another green flag restart here as we work off the caution flag. We're going to go back green flag racing to take lap number 122 and stop simply through Brian Cross. Coming up at the front of the field, clear to the inside lane. Green flag flies and back off. We're going to be racing down in the corner. Top two cars on the final side by side. Third, Travis Brown on the inside of the 44 of James Hickson. And the 33 of Travis Brown sideways on the bottom is able to hang on to it once again. That could push a 3-1 and cycle to a 2-wide battle in the quarter. Sonic of Jeremy Crandall. So Travis Brown last time on the third, this time Bobby drops to fifth. The good news is he keeps it on the fence. Now the 33 of Borges get back to the point, flexing his muscles. Into number 2 position, the Storm Motorsports Chevrolet is trying to find a way to make the move to 78 runs one lane up the racetrack. More sideways and hangs on. George is taking that down, goes to the lead. He has the advantage in the quarter number 1. He completes the pass. Yes, he does. Ryan Borges going to go back to the number 1 position. A very, very strong car, very strong truck, I should say here, as he is able to return to the point currently. The driver that has led the most laps. Brian Cross starts to split backwards, and again under the caution flag, Brian Cross elected to stay out, not come down for service. Gordon's said as well, similar situation. That is a 6/10 of a second gap now between the top 2 on the racing surface as they currently run. Moat down the back straightaway. Off track. George Barnes back in the stall at 42. Has some help. The 44 truck actually looks like Bart came up on the 44 down the back. The 44 ended up in the fence with George Bark. Bark ended up having to stop it on the outside wall. He was unable to get it back down into pit lane because of the active track that cycled through. And now George Bark is going to find himself in further Falcons in the wall. The 006 truck, 3 laps down in 10. He self-spin at a quarter number 2. And he's going to have to take a tow back to pit road. We stay green. Ryan Borges puts the 44 of James Hickson down the lap. Very quick self-spin, and actually George Bark was assisted into the wall there in contact with the 44. Not sure what each of those drivers' takes are going to be on those. But another self-spin for the 006 of Furless Falcons. His night is not going his way. Now Jeremy Crandall, 73 truck is going to come down the pit road. That machine has some right side damage. It's down and a lot of smoke pouring out of the 73 truck. So trouble for Jeremy Crandall. Hickson, the only truck that's not on the lead lap that is still in working condition. He sits 8. Travis Brown, the last truck on the lead lap. And that would be because the 33 had a self-spin at a quarter number 4 just a lap ago. So a lot of different action on the racing surface. Robert O'Neill, the 77, rides around in third, Cross is second, Borges up by 1.5 seconds in the number 1 spot. And again, outside of that select few, only 7 drivers do remain and do sit on the lead lap. Looking mighty stout up front. The truck's 1 lap down, James Hickson in 18th, 1 down, 2 laps down is Crandall in 9th, 3 laps down, George Bark in 10th, 7 down is Feltons in 11th. And Gary Bauer, our only retiree in tonight's race, 53 back. He and his number 27 truck brought it back into the garage. Back lap number 79. He will finish tonight's race again after that in position number 12. Borges continuing to pull away. It's 1.9 seconds between the top 2 on a racing surface. Another about 1.5 seconds back You want to find O'Neill, who sits third. Travis Brown is going to be very close to losing his lap, something that he's done a solid job of being able to hang on to all race long. As he sits 7th, take a look at Borges, under that front windshield of the number 32 truck, our race leader. You can see very clearly Travis Brown. And his bar competition Chevrolet is getting bigger and bigger up in front of him. And now it's about a second gap between Borges and Brown. Still a handful of trouble. It's not an immediate threat, but give it about 5 more laps, and if we don't see a caution, Travis Brown, again, having that self-spin out of the corner, we'll be seeing himself go down the lap, which is evidently the last thing that you're going to want to see, considering all the determination that Travis has had to go through to get to where he sits right now. And again, his truck has not been blistering fast in tonight's race, but he's been able to do a solid job and be able to recover quite nicely from, again, those couple of self-spins to be able to continue to sit on the lead lap. But some lap traffic that Brown's actually catching. Travis Brown is actually caught Jeremy Crandall. So if that actually slows down Travis Brown, that only backs him up even closer to Ryan Borges. Borges has a truck that seems very stable on exit. The biggest issue that I've seen with these drivers is they just have no rear end security on corner exit. And now the 73 is going to go around and right in front of our race leader. A caution flag to fly once again. Jeremy Crandall self-spinning at a corner number 2. Right in front of Travis Brown. Good news for the 33 as Travis Brown will keep his lead lap. As we close in, 61 laps to go at the time of the caution. And now we can expect to see our leaders once again return to the pit lane for service. Again, Ryan Cross, the 78 truck, stays out. Borges in. Robert O'Neill in. Matt Clifton down to the road. Jay Anderson stays out. Michael Johnson in. Travis Brown in. James Hickson stays out. Takes the waiver out. He'll return to the lead lap. We'll have 8 trucks on the lead lap. And the rest of the guys obviously being laps down. Crandall, Bark, and Felkins do not have the ability to pit this time by. They have to go one more circuit around before they're allowed to come down pit road. Taking a look at our most recent results here. Again, pros-league.com. You can join these guys, find out a lot more about them, and maybe be out here racing again every other Sunday. So next Sunday, you can be out here on track. But the Pro Money Series here. Last time that I was up here in the booth, we were able to see these guys race it out at Talladega. George Martin pushing Travis Brown to that win. And 2 weeks ago, Travis Brown taking it by 3 seconds at Atlanta Motor Speedway. He took that win home over Gary Bauer, who sit in second. So the point standings as they sit right now, Travis Brown is our leader. 2 starts, 2 wins. Up in front of the field, the only other driver to be sitting on 2 top 5s like Brown is George Bark, who's second in the championship standings. 11 points back, 16 back is Gary Bauer, 25 back is Robert O'Neill, 27 back James Hickson, and a tie with Jeremy Crandall for 5th. 7th is Andrew Heigl, 8th Michael Johnson, 31 back, 36 back is Kerry Cleaver, and Daniel Reed, 41 points back, rounds out the top 10. 11 trucks have made starts in all of the races, the first 2. The only 2 drivers, actually only 1 driver not mentioned in the top 10 there. Jay Anderson, 11th, is the last truck in the standings to start, to be able to start both races so far tonight, race number 3. As we continue to work under the caution. Ryan Cross is back up front. Ryan Borges is going to be restarting 3rd. He will be the first car on fresh tires. And taking a look forward here at the schedule. Obviously, the Bones Firecracker 400, Travis Brown taking that one home in Daytona. Travis Brown also taking the pros Tom Hefferson Memorial 250. Tom Hefferson Senior Memorial 250 at Atlanta. Tonight, again, the bar competition 150 until the lights in Richmond coming to a close here as we close in on our final 50 laps. We go racing 2 weeks' time at Iowa, the Mrs. Dockside Labor Day 200. Charlotte Motor Speedway, the Pros 600 on September 14th. The 28th of September to be Martinsville for Mrs. Dockside 100. The Pros League 225 at Chicagoland is August 12th, October 12th, October 26th, Watkins Glen for Pros at the Glen 151. And we return to a plate track, the Mrs. Dockside Southern 500 from Talladega on November 9th and November 23rd to round out the Mrs. Dockside South Beach 300, the championship race. And all of that. Super Truck Pros. We're back in 44 Rocket Cross. Jay Anderson side by side with Robert O'Neill. That's for second. Anderson through on the bottom. Borges trying to find a way through in the 77. Looks like he's going to be stuck behind the 18. Yes, he is. Borges to the bottom. Way up the hill. Brown inside. Anderson pulls the line behind Borges, who just got up to second. Side by side with fourth. Travis Brown to the apron. Contact. He hangs on to it. Once again, a good save by Travis Brown. But these trucks very forgiving if you hit those left side tires down on the apron. He's done that a couple of times tonight. He's been able to hang on that time once again. James Hickson also having the black flags cleared. After that start, Hickson is the last truck on the lead lap in position number 8. Once again, here comes Ryan Borges. Ford Motorsport Chevrolet. Closed it into 1/10 of a second. It's 1 second back to the first truck out of that lead battle. The third place machine of Jay Anderson is 1 second back. But Brian Cross wants to defend the inside. Can the 32 get him on the outside? Yes, he does. Wow, strong move. Ryan Borges on the outside lane. Once again, return to the point. Hands down, you got to be calling that 32 machine the favorite. Travis Brown looking to capitalize on his points lead right now as he sits 5th. George Barker second in the standings, sits 10th. Now Borges trying to check out 5/10 in pulling. At the front of the field, a closely contested battle for 5th. That was Travis Brown and Michael Johnson. Johnson has since dropped back into the second, so Travis Brown has a little bit of a buffer over the security for that number 5 position. But a story that has to be made is that 32 of Ryan Borges, and you can tell that the veterans are out there studying. Again, this is George Barker, there at a turn number 2. Travis Brown, who's swept the victory lane so far, get down to the apron and really lose it a handful of times. So a testament has to be made to Ryan Borges, who is sitting out there and dominating as they run. Testament has to be made to how strong he has been running here and how good he is running this race. And Borges not making a start before tonight. So, starting it off with a bang, looking to make himself a 100% success record as that of the likes of Travis Brown that he sits on right now. But that 33 truck is dropping back over 3 seconds back in 5th. Travis Brown not looking like that machine's going to be going victory lane tonight unless, and this is very possible, that late race cautions and the turn of events there late in the race, you can easily see these things change in a split second. And this time by the start-finish line, 45 laps to go. We have not made 45 laps green tonight. So statistically speaking, if you're on Brian Cross, Jay Anderson, Matt Clifton, and Travis Brown, 2nd through 5th, statistically speaking, based on how the night has gone, you're going to see another yellow flag. How can you use that to your advantage? seen a couple guys, Brian Cross, play the strategy of consistently staying out for track position. He hasn't been able to utilize it to an extent where he would actually be able to hang on to the lead for an extended period of time, but he has led laps by doing so. But again, Borges 1.9 seconds back to second, over 3.8 back to third. And now Robert O'Neill, the 77 truck, who we saw leading this race and talked about how he could steal this win. Walk the winning victory lane, trying to sneak away with it, working some pretty severe rear end damage. Robert O'Neill sits in a relative risk of losing his lead lap. And that damage comes from contact on the most recent restart to 53 of Matt Clifton. Moved him out of the way and he actually crashed it into the inside wall. So again, another example of how quickly things can turn. O'Neill goes from up at the front of the field with a solid machine and back into a 7th position, working damage, is slipping, and continuing to lose time. Ryan Borges on that back bumper in a limited amount of laps. Unless that 77 can find something, but I don't think he'll be able to stay in front of Borges working at that damage. As they run right now, 7 trucks on the lead lap. Borges, Cross, Anderson, Clifton, Brown, Johnson, O'Neill. We are within side, and this time by, it is 40 laps to go for Ryan Borges, continuing to run solid lap times of 21.4s, 21.3s, putting on a clinic here at the Richmond International Raceway. Overcast skies, 65 degrees Fahrenheit, no wind, no humidity. A rather chilly night, which means that if anything, it's definitely going to be making as much grip as they can in these weather conditions more than anything else, and these things are still pretty loose, especially on exit. Furless Falcons, the 006 has finally called it in. After a rough night, another cell spin at a corner number 2 was the last straw, and that machine going to go behind the wall, and he will retire. He will come home in 11th. So both Furless Falcons and Gary Bauer started 11th and 12th respectively, will be the first 2 trucks to retire, and they will finish in those same positions that they started in. Interesting enough to note. Ryan Borges, again, just still straight flying. Up in front of the field, he's nearly opened up a 5-second gap. This was the start of the race. These other guys might be worried about, if we see a really long green flag run, them losing their lap. Because, I mean, Ryan Borges, just solid. As he runs right now, the B-class license, those stripes on the back of his 32 Chevrolet. Continuing to work over Brian Cross. One car sideways down the back straightaway. The 73 of Jeremy Crandall. He pulls back out on track, trying to get it back going. Just like that, the race is going to get another twist. Back under caution. Slow them down once again, not what Ryan Borges wanted to see. Borges elects to come down pit road. Brian Cross, Jay Anderson, Travis Brown, Matt Clifton, Michael Johnson stays out. They expect that 004 to come in next time by. All of our leaders come down for service. Expect James Hickson to get the wave around. And Borges, without any strange tire strategy here, do expect 4 tires for him to put on. Let's see, right side going up. The jack is up. And down crew goes over to the left side. 4-tire stop for Borges. Does anybody try 2 tires? I wouldn't count on it, wouldn't bank on that. Borges leads him down pit road. He will exit pit road on a 4-tire call. And the first truck to enter, once again, will be the first truck to exit. I don't see anybody else being able to beat Ryan Borges unless a caution flies at some point where maybe he stays out and everybody else comes in and pits. Or at some extent, some sort of scenario that would create an imbalance in tires, because if you try to, go one up, straight up 4 tires with that 32 of Ryan Borges, he's getting the better of him. Now, the 32 has struggled on restarts tonight. He's dropped back to 3rd on one occasion, 4th. Every time he's been able to get back into the number 1 spot, that could be a story here moving forward in this. We approach 30 laps to go. Gonna step away from the microphone once again. You're watching the BART Competition 150 on the Pros Racing Network. Gonna be back with you for the green flag momentarily. The lights have been turned off, extinguished on the top down. We see forces mistake restart down the pit road. Ryan Borges off. Knocked off 2 or 3 solid laps, because his first handful of off-field restarts have been the vein of his existence. He gets sideways on the apron once again. He saves it, nearly in the fence with 3 wide for the lead down in the corner. 3:18 and Jay Anderson was a shot to the green track ground. And again the restart. Buddy Ryan Borges now crossed to the inside of Brown for the number 1 spot. Side by side, 2 rows deep, and door to door down the back straightaway. A wild restart. And Travis Brown trying to hang on the outside to get it done. Ryan crossed back that time by the stripe. And while these guys battle side by side up front, let's give the 32 a chance to have his tires come in. Borges needs just a handful of them off of restart, and that machine really starts to just straight flying. Now they single file out, and it's Ryan Brown. Up to the point, Chevrolet sponsored Chevrolet Silverado. BART Competition 33. Travis Brown takes a look to the inside, can't get it done, and now here comes Borges. And this time by the start-finish line, it will be 25 laps to go. Crossing Brown, and then Borges to the inside, and side by side for a second goes Ryan Borges down to the bottom. Travis Brown slides back to 3rd. And now caution flag going to fly just before Borges can get back up front. It's the 18 of Jay Anderson. And looking like a self-spin at a corner number 4 down to the grass. Caution flag is going to fly once come back up for what's going to be a restart within 20 laps to go. That again changes the whole story. And that's about the third time tonight. We've been talking about it. Ryan Borges struggling off of these restarts. He's able to be a dominant car on the long run. But I mean, once you get him out there on a restart, it's the first 3 laps or so. Even if, and on that most recent one, he did get the jump, but even if he gets that jump on a restart, still not being able to get up and go until he can get about 3 laps on his tires. This could be huge moving forward in this, because that time he dropped back to 3rd, and before we saw him drop back to a 3rd place, drop back to a 4th place, he was able to get back up front. But now the laps are starting to wind down. If the 32, he can't afford to lose 3 more spots. If he doesn't have the caution flies at that point, he's pretty much out of this. Brian Cross may be able to come in here and be able to steal this victory. Brian Cross started tonight's race 3rd on the inside of the second. So this restart going to be key for Ryan Borges. Not only that, but also obviously Brian Cross, Travis Brown, who sits 3rd, who has been struggling with the handling on his machine a little bit, made a very good aggressive move there, knocked off solid laps, and was able to get up to the #1 position. He dropped back to 3rd now, but that move there off that most recent restart has put him in contention for this win. Taking a look, we still have 8 trucks on the lead lap. George Bark, the first truck 1 lap down, who sits down on pit road for repairs. Came around the field and again now sits down for some service, so I have to see where the scoring loop cycles him through, but he is position number 9 and will be sitting 1 lap down, so he will need at least another caution to get back up onto the lead lap, and then who knows what could happen from there. And that would be a pretty crazy story. Okay, we've only had 2 retirees, Verlis Falcons, Gary Power. They'll finish 11th and 12th respectively. Those are also the positions that they started in, ironically enough, after both of them made some charges through the field. The 006 couldn't quite get up to the top 5, but made some solid moves inside of the top 10. Gary Power was up there at the front, but both of those guys retiring. Power now sits 100 back and 34 back for Verlis Falcons. They're out of the race. The 2 trucks still on track that are not on the lead lap. George Bark is down 1. Jeremy Crandall is down 3. Those are both the Bark competition karting machines. Travis Brown also has the Bark competition karting decal on his the back end of his Chevrolet, the flatbed portion of his truck. But this time by, the lights on the pace car go out. And this will set us up for a 19-lap restart. So we get set to see what unfolds here, how they stack up. The 78 of Brian Cross elects to take the outside lane. That forces Borges to the inside of the #1 road. This could play into the hands of the 53 of Matt Clifton, who actually sits in 4th place on the outside of the second row, but that is going to put him behind our race leader as we go through for a pace car. Sharp left hand turn down the road. 78 doing a great start by the leader. 5 by 5 second. Borges really needs to hang on to this. Lock to the outside and only 2 Borges. He is cleared. Yes, he does at a quarter number 2. He needs some green flag laps if he wants to be able to get back up there and catch Brian Cross. 3 laps to get those tires going and to start when it does start to take up time. It's at a rate of a 10th a lap, if not more. And he is flying now. He's having to get with it, and he's closed it into 2 truck lengths down the back straightaway. So Ryan Borges, recognizing the significance of this situation, he's driving the wheels off. Cross still by 2 tenths and last time on guarantee that 78 machine is not going to want to roll over and give this around because it causes him to fly any long from some of these trucks back and back. The 78 just needs to try to hang on. It's down to 18 hundredths of a second, 0.1 is the gap. The 10th separate the top two. Now Borges takes a look to the inside through two, can't get it done. Signal files out back down the back straightaway. And he's going to throw it into the bumper. Does it look low? The 78 shuts the door on him. 15 going to strike. Here comes the 77. Can Robert Willis sits in the wings in third? Can he maybe try to take this one if our top two get together? He sits 4 tenths out of it. Borges 2 tenths back the last time on the strike. And this time we're going to have to get updated. It's crossed by 1.5 truck lengths into the corner, and that gap remains 2 tenths. Ryan Borges throws it into 1 and 2. He makes up nearly half of that gap out of 2. Continuing to race hard up front, it's half the truck. Just the 32 electric knows this needs the pump if this battle continues on to the closing laps. That time we'll have 13 remaining. The outside and now back in line goes Ryan Borges, and now caution flag flies. Back in the back, heavy damage. Jeremy Crandall gets the left side tires down on the apron in the corner, and again you just can't do that. Even the slightest bit, it's not going to work out for you. And another self spin from Jeremy Crandall at a corner number 2. The BART competition machine goes around, and it looks like another machine going to be picking up some minor damage is Michael Johnson. Looks like the 004 truck may have gotten some right rear damage from that. Nothing severe, but we group them back up, and there will be less than 10 laps to go. And Ryan Borges will once again be forced to start in second. Cross does not come down pit road. Borges, O'Neill, Brown, Clifton. Matt Clifton going to be the first truck in. He comes in from 5th. Jay Anderson stays out in 6th. Michael Johnson 7th. James Hickson 8th. Those two guys coming down pit road as well. George Barnes getting back to the lead lap here. He gets the lucky dog. The 42 BART competition machine of George Bart is going to be now 9th position still. He will be the last truck on the lead lap. A big turn of events to try to give that 42 some more points headed on to tonight. pace car. So we get set for a 7-lap shootout. Determine who's going to walk away with the Martin Competition 150 trophy. Who will be able to take home that checkered flag? It has all been Travis Brown. The first 2 races, our 2-time winner sits in 4th. Brian Cross, the control car, the dominant car of the race, the 32 of Brian Borges, once again is going to be forced to start inside of the front row, who's been not good on restarts. To the pace car, 9 down here, Brian Cross is going to green flag flies the race, and good news for Borges. Ron Sleepy was Travis Brown. Brown started in 4th. 4th place has had some good restarts. Comes back to 4th. He's behind the 77 of Robert O'Neill. O'Neill sits 3rd after dropping back after getting some damage and caught up in an incident. Robert O'Neill, who's led laps in tonight's race, is now back up to 3rd place. Brian Cross and Ryan Borges, 6 laps to go by the start-finish line. Borges is going to need to drive this thing really hard. We know that if you try to get a little bit too much out of them, these things will break sideways on you on exit in a heartbeat. Not even think twice. You gotta get right down into the 32, straddling that yellow line outside tires nearly on it. And it's a very tricky situation. 5 to go. And he's closing the gap. It's down to 3/10. A huge run at it, too. Borges is going to make it a fight for the finish. If the caution flag flies from this point on, the race is over. Brian Cross leads it at 4 to go. A lot of side-by-side throughout the pack. A battle for 6th between George Mark and Travis Brown. Travis Brown is able to get that one. But all eyes on the front as Ryan Borges tries to put his Score Motorsports Chevrolet in the victory line, and it looks like he's overdriving it a bit. Ryan Cross picks up a 10 that time by 3 laps to go. Once again, down the back straight, the 32 of Borges has been so strong all night long. And as he sits now, again, the lead starts to gain resistance. And now he's up to 2nd. He's able to maintain 2nd at 2 to go. And it's just now at this point in the green flag run where the 32's tires would start to come in. And he's got a last dash of hope from 3/10 to 2. And now down to 1. Contact is going to hit the 78 contact for the number 1 spot. Borges is actually going to go around. They make it to the white flag. And on the outside, Matt Clifton, the 53 truck, the real tree Chevrolet, is going to dodge that hole on the outside lane. Brian Cross is going to go up into the fence in turns number 1 and 2. And for the final time through 3 and 4 after starting on pole position, out of nowhere, the 53 of Matt Clifton spins it across the line. Jay Anderson, 2nd. 3rd, Robert O'Neill is the whole field. Gonna wreck it out of the corner, Ryan Borges. After going for the win in 3 and 4, coming to the white flag, makes contact with race leader. He goes around. And Matt Clifton gonna walk away and steal this win. He's gonna go to victory lane and win it in an amazing last lap move to the outside. A last-ditched move on the outside, and he's able to clear everybody and set sail. And we're going to get a chance to possibly talk with them. And now we have Matt Clifton. You got a copy?
Yeah, man.
We were talking here about what happens if our top 2 get together. Is somebody going to be able to capitalize on it? They got into it down into corner number 3, and you come flying by on the outside, taking the white flag. You're able to steal this victory. Walk us through those final laps.
Dude, I just made up my mind there once we kind of got settled on that restart. I was running 4th, and, I had a cushion. I didn't have nothing for Robert or the other 2, so I was just going to ride it out and finish 4th, and then 2 to go on the white flag. They were getting kind of dicey, and I'm like, well, they might get together, and that's pretty much what happened. So I got lucky. I did steal it.
Walk us through the race. I know we saw a lot of guys having trouble, especially at a corners number 2 and a corners number 4. These trucks got really, really loose on exit, especially if you got those left side tires down on that yellow line below it there. What was your approach to tonight's race, and how was the truck handling?
The truck was junk. It was I think it was a last man standing thing. We were all fighting the same thing, man. Turn two's it would get you.
Definitely. Well, a nice move there on the outside to be able to dodge it all. Any sponsors and shout-outs you want to throw out there?
No, just wanna say thanks to pros and all the guys there for putting all this up.
Definitely. That is Matt Clifton. He's going to walk away in victory lane as he's able to steal that one in the closing laps. Another driver that was able to take advantage from those final few laps there is Jay Anderson. Jay, you were running back quite a couple spots there in the field, and you see our couple of leaders, they get together, they're coming to the white flag, and you had to make a couple of bob and weave moves there, even on the last lap, and you're able to limp home in second place. Walk us through that final end of the race.
Yeah, I don't know what really happened there. You know, it all happens fast, and I wasn't expecting it. I seen Brian go up against the wall, and O'Neill was pushing me pretty hard all night, and I expected him to stay up. I didn't. I was just watching the replay, and he got loose. That's why he came down into me. But I had to keep my foot in it to, you know, hopefully get through it, and I did. And Travis gave me a little bump in the back. I think that helped me give some momentum to get through it, so that helped too. So
we talked to Matt, and he talked to us about the struggles of this truck and this track and car combination, having these Silverados out here. These things looked wicked loose on exit. You couldn't get those left side tires down below the yellow line, and a lot of guys had some trouble with that. You yourself, you started back in 9th place. You walked home in 2nd. How'd you get that job done, making your way through this field? I know it was a battle of attrition, a lot of cautions, a lot of beating and banging, but how was that truck handling?
It was the same as everybody else. It was loose coming off. You had to be real careful, especially on the restarts and with fresh tires. You couldn't overdrive it. You just had to be careful for the first 4 or 5 laps and let the tire pressures build up and the tires get hot. You know, you just tire management, and yeah, if you got your wheels on the apron on the left side, it would de-wedge your truck, and that happened to me one time. And it just de-wedged it, and I just shot right up into the track, right across the track in a 4-wheel drift, and you know, it's not the thing to do. So I was trying to stay as close as I could to the yellow line without going over it.
Definitely. You were one of the 11 drivers entering tonight that was able to start both the first races. Tonight you make your start in all 3 of the races. I mean, moving forward from tonight's race, the 2nd place result can't hurt.
Oh, it's definitely going to help. So every little bit helps.
And definitely on that. Before we let you go, Jay, you got any sponsors or shout-outs? Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Pro Racing for putting us on, giving a place to race, running a good race. And Kim Dolan, our sponsor. She helps out quite a bit, so we couldn't do it without her. So we appreciate that.
Definitely. Well, congratulations on your top 2 finish, and we look forward to seeing what you and your 18 crew do moving forward.
Okay, thank you.
That was Jay Anderson. He comes home in a number 2 finishing spot, and again, able to walk away with that one. And that's pretty much going to wrap things up here. Again, going to run you through the final finishing order when it's all said and done. And it looked like at 2 to go, it was going to be 2 trucks duking it out, being Ryan Borges and being Brian Cross. Those 2 making contact in 3 and 4, approaching the white flag. Matt Clifton to victory lane. Jay Anderson to 2nd after a pass in 3 and 4. Robert O'Neill 3rd. Ryan Borges 4th. Brian Cross 5th. George Bark able to capitalize for a 6th place finish. Travis Brown in 7th spot. Michael Johnson, last truck on the lead lap, in 8th. James Hickson, 1 lap down in 9th. 10th belongs to Jeremy Crandall, 3 back. And in Verlis Falcons, Gary Bauer, the 2 trucks that did not make it the distance, 11th and 12th. round out your 12 truck field. A battle of attrition comes to a close here at the Richmond International Raceway. When it's all said and done, a wild final 2 laps where the green flag stays out and multiple trucks in the fence as these Matt Clifton steal it on the outside lane. That's going to do it tonight. The BARC competition 150 goes to Matt Clifton. On behalf of everybody at Pros Racing, George Bark on BARC Competition Karting. Also thanks to Mrs. Dockside, Kim Dolan, for getting this series up and going, to Mrs. Dockside Super Truck Series. That's going to do it. My name is Evan Posoko. Thank you everybody so very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next Sunday night. Every other Sundays we go racing, so in 2 Sundays' time, we'll be back on air once again. We'll see you racing in Iowa for the Mrs. Dockside Labor Day 200.